What's going on, peoples? How we doing? How we living? All right, it's your boy Moose. Truth out here doing cool things. You already know it's a cool world. And in this particular video, yeah, man, it's gotten to the point where we can't even look at our fast food anymore without having a question mark, wondering what is it that we actually eating anymore. Okay, I just think that fast food has become such a conglomerate. Partisan business that essentially they're just trying to parse out the ingredients and just basically parse out the materials. Okay, they don't really care about how it's getting assembled, about the nutritional value of any of this stuff. Okay, and obviously there's lies about what type of chemicals and what type of phosphates and all types of things just to filler the food, just to make it taste a certain level, and that way it gets to be a certain consistency. There's all types of messed up things going on with the fast food in this country because it's such a slop filled order business where it's like they have these orders to fill, they have these franchises that they have to get the ingredients and materials to on a assembly line like basis, like week to week, month to month, that kind of thing. So yeah, we're gonna just dive into this video, man. Just jump right into it because y'all people need to know, and we can't be living under a rock so ignorant. You know what I mean? We can't be so ignorant. So I'm gonna get right into this video, man, about things you should know about ordering from fast food chains and specifically burger chains in the United States of America. And pretty much just expand into a global aspect because all these companies are expanding, have global reach now. So yeah, it's getting scary outside. Really, gotta pay attention. But let's go.
Let me tell you something the burger industry doesn't want you to know. When they say 100% beef, they're playing word games that would make a politician jealous. Here's how the scam works. They take real beef, grind it up, then add water, salt, and a cocktail of preservatives. Technically, the meat portion is 100% beef. But the final patty? That's a different story entirely. Most major chains use what's called pink slime, mechanically separated beef that's been treated with ammonia to kill bacteria. It looks like strawberry soft serve ice cream and smells like a chemistry lab. This stuff was so controversial that even McDonald's had to stop using it after public outcry. But here's the kicker. They just found new ways to hide the same garbage. Now they use textured vegetable protein, soy concentrates, and something called beef flavor that's made in a lab, not a pasture.
Beef flavor, okay? Beef flavor, not even actual beef, but flavoring that tastes somewhat like beef. But we don't know what it is they're actually pumping into it. Scary, scary stuff.
The average fast food burger patty is pumped full of sodium phosphates to hold water, giving you that juicy bite. But you're not tasting beef juice, you're tasting salt water and chemicals. 1/4 pound patty can contain over 800 milligrams of sodium before you even add the bun and condiments. And those grill marks you see? Half the time they're painted on with artificial smoke flavoring. Real beef doesn't need fake grill marks, but when your patty is 30% filler, you need all the help you can get. The worst part? These companies spend millions on marketing to convince you that their processed meat paste is somehow premium beef. But once you know what to look for, you'll never be fooled again. Let's start with number 8, Checkers and Rallies.
I knew it.
These guys love to talk about their seasoned beef, but what they don't tell you is what that seasoning is hiding. Their patties are loaded with something called beef base, which sounds like it should be beef, but it's actually a mixture of hydrolyzed soy protein, corn syrup, and artificial flavoring. The actual beef content? Industry insiders say it's around 70% on a good day. But here's what really gets me. Their famous seasoning contains MSG, artificial smoke flavor, and enough salt to make your blood pressure monitor beep like a smoke alarm. One Baconzilla burger packs over 1,400 milligrams of sodium. That's more salt than you should eat in an entire day. The meat itself comes pre-formed and frozen, shipped in from processing plants where it's been sitting for weeks. By the time it hits your tray, that fresh burger has been through more stops than a cross-country bus route. And those crispy edges everyone raves about? That's not seasoning, that's the chemical preservatives burning off under the heat lamps. Real beef doesn't need to be pumped full of chemicals to taste good. The oil they cook in gets reused for days, sometimes weeks. I've seen fryer oil so dark it looked like motor oil, but the fries and onion rings kept coming out because changing oil costs money. Former employees have admitted that when meat shipments run late, they'll use patties that are well past their prime.
Mm.
The solution? Extra seasoning to mask the off taste. If your burger tastes overly salty or has a weird aftertaste, now you know why. Number 7 is Wendy's.
Oh,
And this one hurts because they built their reputation on fresh, never frozen beef. But fresh doesn't mean pure and never frozen.
fresh, never frozen. Yeah, what a crock of BS, right? Fresh, never frozen, my ass. Okay, man. This is like the type of garbage that you know they shouldn't. They can't even be serving at school cafeterias and like low poverty areas in the U.S. because they just the material and the quality of the food is just so damn bad because they're in such a poverty stricken area. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, this is the type of food that's getting shipped out mass and brought across the U.S. for everyone to eat. Man, this is ridiculous. All this steroid, uh, pumped up food and stuff like that, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Frozen doesn't mean never processed. Wendy's patties contain beef, sure, but they also contain water, salt, and natural flavoring. That natural flavoring is doing a lot of heavy lifting because it includes everything from yeast extract to hydrolyzed proteins that make the meat taste more beefy than it actually is. The real problem is their supply chain.
Yeah, I always knew
While
something
the
was
beef
up
might not be
with
frozen when it arrives at the restaurant, it's been sitting in refrigerated trucks for days, sometimes over a week. By the time it reaches your local Wendy's,
girl
it's
don't
already
fool me.
starting to turn. Their
Wendy,
square patties aren't just
get
a
out of
marketing
here, you
gimmick,
little Chucky
they're a
looking like
cost-cutting
girl.
measure.
Get out of here.
Square patties are easier to mass produce and stack, but they cook unevenly. The corners burn while the center stays undercooked,
Yeah.
which is why
You
Wendy's
cousin
burgers
of
often have that
Madeline's?
weird texture contrast.
Wendy.
And let's talk about that Baconator. It's not just 2 beef patties, it's 2 processed meat discs held together with enough cheese product and bacon to hide the fact that the beef tastes like cardboard. The whole thing clocks in at over 950 calories and 2,100 milligrams of sodium. The fresh vegetables aren't much better. The lettuce comes pre-shredded in bags and sits in bins for hours. The tomatoes are picked green and gassed with ethylene to turn them red. That's not fresh, that's artificially ripened. But here's the worst part. Wendy's still refuses to sign agreements protecting farm workers from abuse. So while they're charging premium prices for quality ingredients, they're supporting a system that exploits the people who grow their food. Number 6 is Carl's Jr. and Hardee's.
What is
And these guys have turned burger making into a chemistry experiment.
Carl's Jr.'s.
Their thick burgers are thick, all right. Thick with fillers, preservatives, and enough chemicals to make a lab technician nervous. Their beef contains something called beef flavor enhancer, which is basically MSG dressed up with a fancy name. It tricks your brain into thinking you're eating better beef than you actually are.
Being so bad.
The real beef content hovers around 65%, with the rest being water, soy protein, and binding agents. But here's what's really disgusting. They reuse their fryer oil for up to a week. That oil gets so rancid it starts smoking, but they keep using it because changing oil costs money. Your burger isn't just processed, it's cooked in rancid fat. The famous Star Burger is famous, all right. Famously fake. The patty is so thin and processed that it has the texture of a sponge. They pump it full of water and sodium phosphates to make it seem juicy, but you're basically eating a saltwater sponge with beef flavoring. And those hand-breaded chicken sandwiches? The chicken is injected with a sodium solution that makes up 15% of its weight. You're paying chicken prices for salt water and chemicals. The worst part is how they market themselves as premium fast food. Premium would be using actual beef, not processed meat paste. Premium would be fresh oil, not week-old grease. Premium would be real ingredients, not a chemistry set. Their Monster Thick Burger is a monster, all right. A monster of processed meat, artificial cheese, and enough sodium to pickle a cucumber. One burger contains over 1,300 calories and 2,800 milligrams of sodium. That's not a meal. That's a heart attack waiting to happen. Number 5 is Burger King, and their flame-grilled claim is about as real as their beef. Those grill marks aren't from flames. They're from a conveyor belt system that stamps fake grill marks onto processed patties. The Whopper might be their signature burger, but it's also their biggest lie. The patty contains beef, water, salt, and natural flavor. That natural flavor is doing overtime because the actual beef tastes like wet cardboard without it. But here's the real kicker. Burger King uses something called smoke flavoring to make their burgers taste grilled. It's a liquid chemical that gets sprayed onto the patties to simulate the taste of actual grilling. You're not tasting flame-grilled beef. You're tasting artificial smoke in a bottle. Their meat comes pre-formed and frozen despite claims of fresh preparation. The patties are so processed they don't even look like ground beef. They look like gray hockey pucks.
Yeah, I'm not eating fast
The
food
only
no
reason
more.
they turn brown
I'm
is
done
because of
on
the
fast
artificial
food, yo.
coloring
It's
added during
a wrap.
processing. The Impossible Whopper was supposed to be their healthy alternative, but it's loaded with more chemicals than their regular beef. At least with the
1 spoonful of honey with cinnamon
My
before
phone
bed
that
equals 0 memory
ads,
collapse.
man.
The secret, the billion.
the beef version, you know you're eating processed meat. With the Impossible version, you're eating processed plants that have been engineered to bleed like meat. And those onion rings everyone loves? They're made with the same oil that's been frying fish, chicken, and everything else on the menu. Cross-contamination isn't a bug. It's a feature when you're trying to cut costs. The worst part is their kids' meals. They're feeding children processed meat paste and calling it a burger. Those small patties are even more processed than the adult versions because they need to cook faster and stay safe longer. Number 4 is Jack in the Box, and they've never recovered from their E. coli scandal in the 90s. But instead of improving their beef quality, they just got better at hiding the problems. Their 100% beef patties are technically beef, but they're also 30% water, salt, and binding agents. The actual meat content is so low that the patties would fall apart without chemical binders holding them together. But here's what's really disturbing. Jack in the Box still serves their burgers pink in the middle. With processed meat, that's not a sign of quality, it's a sign of danger. Ground beef should be cooked to 160-degree iron to kill bacteria, but their system prioritizes speed over safety. The Jumbo Jack is jumbo in size but tiny in actual beef content. Most of that bulk comes from water and fillers. You're paying for a big burger but getting a big sponge with beef flavoring. Their tacos are even worse. They're filled with a meat mixture that's more soy than beef. But people keep buying them because they're cheap and available 24/7. Convenience shouldn't come at the cost of your health. And let's talk about their breakfast burgers. Combining processed beef with processed eggs and processed cheese creates a trifecta of artificial ingredients. It's like eating a chemistry experiment wrapped in a tortilla. The oil situation is particularly bad at Jack in the Box. They use the same fryers for everything, so your burger is cooked in oil that's been used for fish, chicken, and those mysterious tacos. The cross-contamination is so bad that vegetarians can't eat anything fried there. Number 3 is White Castle, and their sliders are sliding right past any definition of real beef.
Ugh.
These tiny burgers are big on chemicals and small on actual meat. White Castle's patties are so
I actually
processed
like
they
White
don't even
Castle.
pretend to be real
That
beef
sucks.
anymore. They're made from a mixture of beef scraps, soy protein, and enough preservatives to survive a nuclear winter. The actual beef content is
Are all
estimated to
these
be around
companies
50%.
evil?
But here's the disgusting part. Those holes in the patties aren't just for cooking. They're there because the meat mixture is so processed, it won't cook evenly without them. Real beef doesn't need holes punched through it to cook properly. The onions aren't fresh either. They're dehydrated onion flakes that get rehydrated with steam. So when you bite into a slider, you're getting processed meat, processed onions, and a bun that's more chemicals than wheat. And those
What is
pickles,
real
they're
anymore?
so loaded with preservatives,
You know?
they could probably survive longer than the restaurant itself. The sodium content in just one pickle chip is enough to make your blood pressure spike. The worst part is how people eat these things, by the sack. One person can easily eat 6 to 8 sliders in one sitting, which means they're consuming massive amounts of processed meat, sodium, and chemicals. It's like playing Russian roulette with your digestive system. White Castle markets itself as America's first fast food chain, but they should be marketing themselves as America's first processed food experiment. These aren't burgers, they're edible science projects. Number 2 is Sonic Drive-In, and their burgers are about as authentic as their roller skating car hops. Most locations don't even have roller skates anymore, and their burgers don't have much beef either. Sonic's patties are loaded with water, salt, and something called beef base. That's more chemistry than cattle. The actual beef content varies by location, but industry insiders say it's rarely above 60%. The rest is filler designed to make you think you're eating more beef than you actually are. But here's what's really sketchy. Sonic's burgers are often microwaved to speed up service. That's right. Your grilled burger is actually nuked in a microwave. The grill marks are added afterward with a hot press to make it look authentic. Their supersonic cheeseburger is super in size, but not in quality. The patty is so thin and processed, it's basically beef-flavored cardboard. They load it up with sauce and cheese to hide the fact that the meat has no flavor. And those famous cherry limeades? They're made with high fructose corn syrup and artificial flavoring. You're washing down processed meat with processed sugar. It's a double dose of artificial ingredients. The tater tots are cooked in oil that's shared with everything else on the menu. So your tots taste like a mixture of chicken, fish, and whatever else has been fried that day. It's like a grease lottery where everyone loses. Sonic's breakfast burritos combine processed beef with processed eggs and processed cheese. It's processed food inception. processed ingredients inside processed ingredients. Your digestive system doesn't know what to do with all those chemicals. And now for number 1, McDonald's. The Golden Arches have become the golden standard for
King
processed meat masquerading as beef.
fast food.
McDonald's claims their quarter pounder is made with fresh beef, but fresh doesn't mean pure. Their patties contain beef, water, salt, and natural flavor. That natural flavor is working overtime because without it, their beef tastes like nothing. But here's the real scandal. McDonald's beef comes from cattle raised in feedlots where they're pumped full of hormones and antibiotics. By the time that beef reaches your burger, it's been through more chemical treatments than a swimming pool. The Big Mac is their signature burger, but it's also their biggest lie. Those 2 all-beef patties are more like 2 processed meat discs. The special sauce is just Thousand Island dressing with extra chemicals, and the sesame seed bun contains more preservatives than a mummy. McDonald's also uses something called pink slime in their beef. Mechanically separated meat that's been treated with ammonia.
But
They
not
claim they
famous.
stopped using it, but industry insiders say they just found new ways to process the same low-quality meat scraps. And those famous fries? They're cooked in oil that contains beef flavoring, which means they're not even vegetarian. But the
They
beef
can't
flavor
put no
isn't from
beef
real
tallow
beef,
or
it's from a
nothing,
lab.
man.
So vegetarians are accidentally eating fake beef flavor, while
Dang.
meat eaters are eating fake beef. The chicken McNuggets are even worse. They're made from mechanically separated chicken that's been formed into shapes and deep fried.
The
It's like eating
McNuggets?
chicken-flavored Play-Doh. But here's what really gets me. McDonald's markets itself as family-friendly while serving children processed meat paste. Those Happy Meal burgers are even more processed than the adult versions because they need to cook faster and stay safe longer under heat lamps. The McDouble is their cheapest burger and you get what you pay for. The patties are so thin they're basically beef-flavored crackers. They're pumped full of water and salt to give them any semblance of flavor, but you're essentially eating seasoned cardboard. And let's talk about their breakfast menu. The Egg McMuffin combines processed beef with processed eggs and processed cheese on a processed English muffin. It's like they took everything artificial about fast food and crammed it into one sandwich.
God
The worst
dang.
part? McDonald's
at
has the
that.
resources to serve real beef. They're the biggest burger chain in the world, but they choose to serve
McDonald's.
processed garbage
Clown.
because it's cheaper and has a
What's
longer
the clown's
shelf
name
life.
for McDonald's?
They're prioritizing profit over your health,
Happy?
and they're doing it
something?
with a smile and a catchy jingle. So what's all this processed meat doing to your body? Let me break it down for you, and it's not pretty. First, the sodium levels in these burgers are off the charts. Most contain 800, 1,000 to 200 milligrams of sodium per patty, and that's before you add cheese, pickles, or sauce. Your daily sodium limit should be around 2,300 milliliters, but one fast food burger meal can put you over that limit. All that sodium leads to water retention, bloating, and increased blood pressure. For guys over 40, this stuff is like playing Russian roulette with your cardiovascular system. Then there are the preservatives. Sodium nitrates, sodium phosphates, and other chemicals are linked to increased cancer risk. These aren't natural compounds your body knows how to process. They're industrial chemicals designed to extend shelf life. The processed meat itself is harder for your body to digest than real beef. Your digestive system has to work overtime to break down all those binding agents and fillers. That's why you feel sluggish and bloated after eating fast food. And don't even get me started on the hormones and antibiotics. The cattle used for these burgers are pumped full of growth hormones and antibiotics that end up in your system. These compounds can disrupt your natural hormone balance and contribute to antibiotic resistance. The fake beef is also loaded with omega-6 fatty acids from all the soy and corn products used as fillers. Too much omega-6 causes inflammation throughout your body, leading to joint pain, heart disease, and other chronic conditions. So what's the solution? Stop feeding these corporate machines your hard-earned money and your health. Look, I get it. Fast food is convenient, especially when you're working long hours or dealing with family responsibilities. But there are better options that won't destroy your health. Find a local burger joint that grinds their own beef daily. Yes, it might cost a few dollars more, but you're getting real food instead of processed garbage. Your body will thank you, and you'll actually taste what beef is supposed to taste like. If you must eat fast food, stick to places that at least pretend to care about quality. Five Guys uses fresh ground beef with no fillers. In-N-Out keeps their menu simple and their ingredients real. Shake Shack uses antibiotic-free beef and cooks it to order. But here's the best solution. Make your own burgers. Buy ground beef from a local butcher.
And I think that's where I'm going to stop the video, because that's pretty much the solution I got from there. Because all these fast food companies are lying to you. They're all evil. They all just want your money. They don't care about your health. Even your Shake Shacks and In-N-Outs, and even they're going to be at some point cutting corners, and at some point trying to make up money for quality. I know at some point they're going to lie to you, and they're going to say, hey, here at In-N-Out, we don't do things like that. Here at Shake Shack, we don't cut corners for quality. We don't do that. But I don't know, man. It's kind of scary. It's real scary outside. And like, what about the chicken restaurants like Popeyes and KFCs? I don't even want to know what type of steroids they pumping into them chickens, man. Bottom line, stay away from fast food, okay? Make your own food at home or eat from mom and pop joints, okay? That's it. Fast food is done. It's out in 2025, 2026, all right? Unless you really on your last leg, your bottom's end, you got nothing else. You can't go no other options but fast food. And even then, that's the last for sure. I'd rather go to a gas station and eat some beef jerky over that shit, man. I'm good on fast food. Fast food is out. Yo, I'm out of here. Peace, man. It's deuces. Goddamn talking about pumping freaking things full of pink slime and ish. What are they talking about, man? Get out of here with that. Peace.